My name is Qihang. I just graduated from a second-tier university that is not famous and entered the city's technology circle with a lot of passion. In fact, I have nothing. There are some tyrants who don't accept the loss. After graduation, my first job was working as a product assistant in a medium-sized technology company. It sounds quite high-end, but it is actually a mess. Every day, I either help my employees sort out data or are called to buy coffee. I have no qualifications to enter the meeting room even when I open the meeting and can only stand at the door to pass the materials. Qihang, I will change this report again, the data is wrong. The supervisor Lao Wang threw a piece of paper on my desk impatiently, and his language was full of discouragement. I looked down at the report and felt unhappy. Is this data obviously changed by him temporarily last night, but now it has become my thorn? I gritted my teeth, and kept silent, and started to check with the pen. Several colleagues next to me talked about private words, and glanced at me from time to time, with laughter in their eyes. This newcomer is really tolerant. I've been slapped on the table and left. Let's go. They finally come in. Where can they go? Wouldn't they actually be beaten? I heard it clearly, and the pen in my hand was almost clenched. Bear with it, who let me enter the industry and have no qualifications? But the fire in my heart couldn't be suppressed no matter how hard it was. What's even more amazing is that there are so many potential rules in the company that it's suffocating. Want to be promoted? I have to slap the horse. Want to get a project? I have to ask for a gift. I have no background and no human beings, so I can only be transformed. One time, the plan I worked hard to work overtime was directly defeated by a colleague who came to work. The supervisor also praised him and didn't even look at me. That night, I sat alone at the workstation and worked overtime until midnight. The office was empty, and only the blue light from the computer screen shone on my face. I stared at the depressed plan, and suddenly felt a sense of indescribable grievance in my heart. What to complain about? What do I have to lower my head? I'm not willing to give up, but what can I do? In fact, it is so cool. If you don't fit, you will have to be eliminated. Just as I was about to collapse, my phone suddenly fell off. It was a strange number. I hesitated for a moment and still answered. Qihang, right? I'm Yulan. The phone was the voice of a woman, and her language was calm and serene. I was stunned for a moment, and I had no impression in my brain. Who are you? A person who can help you. She smiled lightly, with confidence in her voice. I know you have not been easy on the job, and I also know you have ambitions. Do you want to turn over? I can give you a chance. My heart skipped a beat, and I felt that this person was probably a cheat, but what she said next made me confused. I read some of the industry analysis you posted online before, and it was very insightful. Although you are just a small assistant now, you are potentially the top figure in the industry. I am willing to invest in you and give you some money to start your own technology company. How dare you take it? I held the phone and my palms were sweating. What's going on? A bun in the sky? I asked. Why did you choose me? I have nothing. Because I see people very accurately. Yulan's voice was still so calm. I don't need you to have a background, I just need you to have a brain. I'll come out with the funds and make a decision. Tomorrow at noon, we will meet in person for the Blue Bank coffee shop in the west of the city, and we will have a face-to-face chat. The phone was shut and I sat in the workstation, my brain buzzing. Invest? Founding a company? It sounds like a dream, but there is an inexplicable urge in my heart. What is the real one? Is this my chance to turn over? The next day at noon, I asked for a long vacation and went to the coffee shop nervously. Yulan was already waiting there. She looks over 30 years old and is wearing a black suit, and her aura is so strong that people dare not look directly at it. She saw me sit down, pushed a cup of coffee, and opened the mountain. I don't like to be idyllic. I can give you 50,000 startup funds. The condition is that your company must be in the top 10 in the industry within 3 years. If you agree, you can sign a contract now. I looked at the contract on the table, my brain was full of questions. This is too fast, right? 5,000, I haven't seen such a lot of money like this. But I still couldn't help asking, why is it me? What do you want? Yulan smiled, with a deep meaning in her eyes. I have my purpose, but now is not the time to tell you. You just need to know that I will not harm you. This opportunity will be gone if it is wrong. My heart was beating, almost blowing. After less than a minute of hesitation, I gritted my teeth and signed. Don't care about him, take a chance. At worst, I can't come back to work if I fail, but if I succeed, I can make it all the way. After getting the funds, I worked as a member of the company and set up a small team as quickly as possible, rented a small office, and started to build my own technology company. To be honest, I have no experience, it all depends on a stimulus and the point in my brain. We mainly focus on a smart home control system, which is not the top technology, but the market positioning is very accurate, focusing on price ratio and user experience. Just when the company was just starting, I received a letter of invitation to the industry meeting. This is the annual highlight of the local technology circle. It is basically impossible for newcomers to come up with it. But I knew in my heart that this was my first battle to call my name and I had to seize it. On the day of the meeting, I went to the venue in my only suit that was still pretty good. The venue was full of big guys dressed in laces, and I was ignored as soon as I entered. There are even a few former colleagues who know me and I have passed a few sentences to complain to me. Qihang, did you hear that you started your own company? It's so awesome, why don't you ask us to drink wine and wish you a happy wish? Ha, stop teasing, it may not be certain that this company can last for a few months. I smiled without saying a word, and I felt a little angry in my heart. Okay, you look down on me, and I will let you shut up later. There is a ring during the meeting, which allows Shinsai companies to come on stage to show their products and business models. When I got to my side, I took a deep breath and walked onto the stage. There were hundreds of eyes staring at me from the audience, some curious, some disdainful, and some lucky. I know, I can't be afraid at this moment. Hello everyone, I am Qihang, from Hangshan Technology. I held the phone and kept my voice as stable as possible. Our company was established for a month and focuses on smart home control systems. Many people may think that our small company is not competitive, but I want to say that the market never depends on how much background you have, but only whether you can solve the pain points of your users. I said one by one, and let the team members demonstrate our products. The data displayed on the screen and user feedback directly made many people in the audience sit upright. I continued, our system is only 2/3 of the industry average, but its functional coverage rate is over 90%. Why? Because we don't do fancy gimmicks, we only do what users really need. After I finished speaking the last sentence, a sound of my hand suddenly came to my ears. It's not the kind of perfunctory, but the kind that I sincerely recognize. I looked at the audience and some big shots even started to discuss in a low voice, and the pleasure in my heart was so refreshed. After the meeting, several investors and industry leaders took the initiative to chat with me, and several large companies even proposed cooperation intentions. I know that this is just the beginning, but at this moment, I finally let those who look down on me shut up. Just as I was about to leave the venue, my phone was reopened, and it was still the number of Yulan. I picked it up and she smiled in her voice, "Start the air, it's very hard." I heard today's performance and kept it going. But remember, this is just the first step, the real challenge is still behind. I held the phone, feeling both excited and a little uneasy. Who is Yulan? What is her purpose? I don't think this road is as simple as I thought. My name is Qihang. Since my face was exposed at that industry conference, Hangshan Technology's name has become popular in a small area. In the next few months, the company has developed like a rocket. Because our smart home control system has a high price ratio, the market response is particularly good. Orders come one after another. The team has been expanded from the first 5 people to more than 20 people, and the office has also moved from the broken partition to a still calculated writing building. I am so busy that I can't touch the ground every day, but I feel really happy. Finally, I don't have to look at other people's faces anymore, and I can finally make the decision on myself. Every time I see the money flow in the account and the good reviews of the users, I feel that everything is like a dream. But I didn't expect that the greater the dream, the greater the trouble. That night, I was working overtime in the office with the team, preparing for the first product launch of the next month. This release will be of great importance to us because we are going to launch version 2.0 of the system, with comprehensive upgrades to the top-notch products in the industry. If it works, we can really stand firm and may even attract big financing. Qihang, hi, I will confirm the promotion plan again. Is there any problem? Xiaoli came with a document and said with a serious face. I clicked the head and took a look. Okay, just be simpler in the copywriting. Don't just mess with those fancy ones, and highlight our selling points. Xiaoli was about to leave, and suddenly the door sounded and knocked. I looked up and saw a strange girl coming in. I was stunned for a moment. I had no impression of it in my brain, but I was really recruiting people recently. Maybe I was too busy to forget it. I stood up and smiled and said, "Oh, right, Z, right? Sit and have a chat first." After Z sat down, she looked very natural, and when answering questions, she clarified the rules and smiled shyly from time to time, making people unable to help but have a good impression of her. She said that she had just returned from abroad and was very interested in the smart home industry and wanted to accumulate experience in our new founding company. I heard that this girl felt quite eye-catching and her ability was not bad, so I decided to let her join on the scene. Okay, come to work tomorrow. The trial lasts for 1 month, and see what you see. I put her simplicity on the table, thinking that the market just lacks an assistant who can work, and this person is good. Z smiled and pointed her head, her eyes brightly. Thank you, President Qihang, I will definitely work hard. The sound of Qihang General made me feel a little drunk, and the sense of accomplishment in my heart came out again. Who could have thought that a few months ago I was still an assistant who was called to drink, and now someone called me general? After Z gave the exam, she did not disappoint me. She is careful in her work and her brain turns quickly, and she can often propose some new market promotion points. In addition, she has a gentle personality, and everyone in the team likes her very much, so I can't help but talk a few more sentences. After all, I was as busy as a dog every day. It was really a relief to have a sensible and caring colleague. President Qihang, I have sorted out the meeting records today. Do you want to read it? Z came with her pencil, and her voice was still so soft. I took a look and pointed. It's great, thank you for your hard work. By the way, you can follow the information about the release meeting. If you have any questions, please contact me anytime. She responded with a smile and turned around to work. I looked at her back and felt quite steadily in my heart. I felt that my vision was good and I chose a good helper. But I never expected that this decision was slapped in the face soon. A few days before the launch, everything looked smooth. The product test was completed, the promotional materials were ready, and both media and customers were invited. I even prepared a new suit specially and planned to show off at the launch conference. But just the night before the launch meeting, the problem came. Our core system version 2.0 was suddenly exposed to serious loopholes, and a post online began to circumvent our products from data leaks, and attached the so-called internal test report. As soon as the post came out, the comments exploded and the hot searches on Weibo were immediately caught in the air. What kind of broken products, and smart home? Smart home? Do you still dare to sell data leaks? Is this company trying to cheat users? I sat in the office and watched these comments, my brain buzzing. How did this happen? Our system has obviously tried too many will tests, so this problem is simply impossible. I called Xiao Zhang, the responsible person in the technology department, to ask him what was going on. Xiao Zhang was sweating profusely and came over with his computer. Qihang, this report is fake. The data inside is not ours at all, and the description of the vulnerability is all fabricated. But the problem is that people on the internet don't believe it, they only look at it hot. I gritted my teeth, and the fire in my heart swelled upwards. Fake? Who will pay for such a big fight to hack us? It's clear that someone is making a fuss behind the scenes. But now is not the time to find a job, and the release will be open tomorrow. If it is not handled properly, the company's reputation that has finally been put into operation will be completely over. Don't panic first, we will prepare for the right plan all night long. I suppressed my anger and said to the team, the technical department has sorted out the real test data, and the market department has prepared a statement. I want to explain it myself at the release meeting. Everyone clicked and went to work their own way. I sat in the workstation, holding the coffee cup in my hand, and I had no bottom in my heart. The crisis was so sudden that I didn't even know who the opponent was. On the day of the release, the atmosphere was as intense as a string. The media and customers were filled with them. Many people looked suspicious, and even a few reporters directly took their mobile phone records and prepared to catch my handle. I took a deep breath, walked onto the stage, and opened my mouth with my phone. Hello everyone, I am the launch of Hangshan Technology. First of all, thank you for being able to attend our launch today. The sparse sound of the palms came from the audience, and the atmosphere was so cold that it made people feel cold. I know they are all waiting to see how I can explain the so-called data ejaculation. I smiled and then said, I believe everyone has seen some rumors on the internet these 2 days, saying that our 2.0 system has loopholes and data will be leaked. I am standing here today and can say responsibly that this is fake. Someone in the audience talked about private words, and his eyes were full of suspicion. I ignored it and directly asked the technical department to cast the real data onto the big screen. This is all the records of our internal tests, and each data has been certified by a third-party agency. If you don't believe it, we will open the test on site. Anyone can come and see if there are any loopholes. As soon as this happened, the people in the audience were stunned for a moment. I took the hot call. I know those posts on the internet look real, but facts are facts. We Hangshan Technology, from the first day, have been user-oriented and will never joke about user trust. If anyone wants to use this method of using the three-dimensional method to destroy us, sorry, I won't take this one. I said this very hard, and there was finally some sound from the audience. I then announced, to prove our sincerity, all customers who booked the 2.0 system today will enjoy a 3-month free upgrade service. If there is any problem, we promise a full refund. This move directly hit the customer's heart. After all, who doesn't like free stuff? The atmosphere in the audience finally calmed down, and many people began to discuss it with low heads, and several customers even expressed their intention to place an order on the spot. After the press conference, our official order volume increased instead of falling, and the discussion began to reverse. Many netizens have sent out my speech clips, saying that I am very good at being a tough guy. Looking at these comments, the big stone in my heart finally landed on the ground. Although this battle was shocking, it was won at least. But after the crisis, I felt even more uneasy. This incident was definitely not accidental. Some people are trying to attack us, and their methods are so poisonous, and they are probably big players in the industry. I contacted Yulan at the first time and wanted to hear her opinions. Qihang, this is not simple. Yulan spoke calmly on the phone. You may offend more people than you think. I suggest you check the company's internal problems, maybe the problem lies with you. I was stunned, and a thought suddenly flashed in my heart. Inside? Is there any ghost? I quit the phone and started filtering everyone's performance in my brain. A little Zhang from the technical department? It's impossible, he followed me from the beginning, loyal. Shaoli from the market? It's not like him, although he does things roughly, he is quite realistic. Wait. Zi? She has only recently come in, and although she is good, she always feels it is a bit perfect. I felt so worried, but the uneasiness in my heart couldn't be suppressed. That night, I stayed alone in the office and read Zi's experience and her recent work records. On the surface, everything was normal, but there was a detailed chapter that made me feel tight. She once asked me about the core algorithm of the 2.0 system inadvertently. At that time, I didn't think much about it and said a few words. But now when she recalled, her eyes seemed a little unfavorable. I held the phone and wondered whether to find someone to check her background. At this moment, the door suddenly heard a sound of footsteps. I looked up and saw Z standing at the door, holding a piece of paper in her hand, and said with a smile, "President Qihang, have you not left yet late? I have some information to confirm with you." I looked at her smile and my heart suddenly sank. Is her appearance too coincidental? I looked at Z standing at the door, holding a piece of paper in my hand, and still had that gentle and harmless smile on my face, and I felt like I was stabbed hard by something. Her appearance is too coincidental, right? It was midnight that the office was no longer there, so why did she suddenly run over? It was when I was searching for her information. Qihang General, these are the market promotion plans for the next quarter. I have sorted it out and want you to take it first. Z walked in and put the documents on my desk. Her language was still so soft, and her eyes seemed to be trying to find something. I forced the decoration, and after receiving the document, I read it casually, looked through 2 pages, and clicked on the head. "Okay, thank you for your hard work. Let it go, I'll read it more tomorrow. Are you still not leaving so late?" She smiled and lowered her head to take care of her hair. "I have worked a lot recently and want to do more things so as not to drag the team's back legs. Chief of the flight, don't be too tired, pay attention to your body." I heard this, but my heart was full of hair. The more this happens, the more she looks like she is, the more I feel disagreeable. I smiled reluctantly and said, "Okay, I understand. You go back first, don't stay too late." Z clicked her head and turned away. I watched her back disappear from the door, picked up her phone immediately, and cleared Ichen's number. Ichen was the dead party when I was in college. He now works in a private investigation company, helping people dig up information, and making a living, and doing things depend on the work. I didn't look for him before, but I thought I could handle the company's business by myself, but now I really have to rely on him to help me. "Hey, Qihang, what's the matter with me in the middle of the night? Are you stupid when you work overtime again? Don't worry, I'm having trouble here." I lowered my voice and set a brain at the recent crisis in Z's suspicious behavior. "I suspect she is an insider, but I have no evidence. Can you help me check her background? The faster the better." Ichen was silent for 2 seconds, and suddenly the voice was rising. "Okay, hand it to me. I am familiar with this. I will give me 1 day. I guarantee to turn her out. But when the flight starts, don't move. She is really a ghost. There must be someone behind her back. Stay calm first and don't be shocked." I clicked, quit the phone, and felt a little bit in my heart. Although Ichen is usually a man, he is always accustomed to doing things. With him here, I will at least not fight alone. Early the next morning, Ichen sent me a WeChat message. I'm a little bit surprised. "Let's meet and chat at noon, don't say it at the company." I felt a little nervous and knew that he must have dug up some important threads. At noon, I found an excuse to sneak out of the company and met Ichen at a remote small restaurant. As soon as he saw me, I threw over a piece of printed data, and looked proud. "Look, you, the market assistant, are not simple." I flipped through the data with my head down, and my face suddenly sank. Z's real name is not Z. Her real name is Lin Z. 3 years ago, she worked as a high-level market specialist in a company called Hongyuan Technology. Hongyuan Technology is a subsidiary of the industry giant controlled by Zhang Wei. What's even more, Ichen also found out that she had multiple conversations with a confidant of Zhang Wei in the past few months, and even a bank statement showed that she had received a considerable guest asking fee. This is not the end. Ichen took a bite of the bun and continued. "I got into an anonymous email and found that she sent an email a few days ago. The content was about the internal data of your 2.0 system. Although the recipient was hiding his identity, his IP address directly pointed to the internal network of Hongyuan Technology. In Qihang, this woman is not only an internal ghost, but also a business community sent by Zhang Wei, and she didn't run away." I heard that the information in my hand was almost pinched. Z, Zhang Wei, it's them. The last time the discussion crisis was exposed before the last time, she probably leaked the fake report. The fire in my heart was rising up, and I wish I could just pull back to the company and get her out now. But I still suppressed my anger and asked Qihang, do you have a direct evidence to prove her relationship with Zhang Wei? Just these intermixed things will cause her to slap her, and you won't be able to hurt Zhang Wei. Qihang smiled, and a cunning light flashed in his eyes. Don't worry, I'm ready for it. We set up a trap to let her jump in by herself, and drag Zhang Wei into the water. You heard me, this arrangement. In the next few days, Qihang and I began to plan according to the plan. We deliberately released a false news inside the company, saying that the 2.0 system will soon launch a hidden function that can directly access the rival's database and obtain the other party's user information. The technology department has been secretly testing. The news sounded out of the blue, but it was absolutely fatal to the opponent who wanted to bring down our opponents. If Z was really acquaintance, she would not have missed the news. In order to make this more credible, I specifically mentioned this function unintentionally at a member meeting. At that time, I pretended to accidentally leak my mouth, and then whispered, everyone keep this matter confidential, don't spread it. When I said this, I glanced at Z, and when I saw her lowered her head and remembered, the corner of her mouth slightly slapped. At that moment, I sneered in my heart, okay, the fish is on the hook. Sure enough, that night, Qihang monitored Z send a message using an encryption software, which was a detailed description of the hidden function. Although the recipient was still anonymous, Qihang used technical means to lock the other party's true identity, Zhang Wei's personal assistant. Qihang, get the iron certificate. Qihang shouted happily on the phone, I have saved the message record and IP tracking results, and there is also a clip of Z's message, which can be made public at any time. Zhang Wei, let's see how he whitens this time. I held the phone and finally felt relieved in my heart, but more of it was anger. In order to destroy me, Zhang Wei did not hesitate to use these three methods to send people to my company, get information, and even create slander. Okay, since you are unkind, don't blame me for being incompetent. The next day, I called Z into the office. When she came in, she was still innocent and asked with a smile, President Qihang, what's the matter with me? I looked at her coldly, without saying a word, and threw the certificate that Qihang had sorted out in front of her. Lin Z, don't put it in it. I know all about your real name, your background, and the queries between you and Zhang Wei. Let me tell you, what else hasn't been explained? Z's face changed instantly, her smile froze on her face, and her fingers clenched unconsciously. She was silent for a few seconds and tried to make a cunning picture. President of the flight, you misunderstood. I don't know what you are saying. These certificates may be fake. Fake? I sneered and slammed her. Transfer records, email clips, and contact records between you and assistant Zhang Wei. Can these be fake? Z, I gave you an opportunity, but you insist on being Zhang Wei's dog and betray my trust. Do you think I will let you go? She bit her lip and her eyes were flashing. It was obvious that I didn't expect that I could find so many. Finally, she simply tore her face and raised her head and said coldly, Qihang, you are just a sudden venture. With an inexplicable piece of funds, you think you can make a big splash? Zhang Wei always said that you are not worthy of being in this circle at all. I think today, but you should not be proud, Zhang Wei always has the ability to deal with you. I almost slapped the table when I heard her words, but I still suppressed my anger. I picked up my phone and pressed a button, all the conversations I just recorded. I looked at her and said coldly, thank you for your confession. I will let more people hear these words. That afternoon, I held a meeting of all the employees, and in front of all the employees, I made Z's interpersonal identity and her links with Zhang Wei. I showed no mercy and directly sent the communication records and email screenshots to the big screen, and even played the recordings she had just recorded for a while. The staff were stunned and the comments came one after another. Oh my God, Z is actually a gangster? She usually looks so good. Zhang Wei is too arrogant. Send someone to sneak into our company. This is to kill us. I stood on the stage, watching Z standing in the crowd with a pale face, and a sense of indescribable pleasure surged in my heart. I cleared my throat and continued, since the day Hangshan technology was established, it was up to the trust of the team and the efforts of everyone. But some people wanted to be internal ghosts and sell us. I made this public today to tell everyone that we are not afraid of challenges, nor are we afraid of those stabbing in the back. Z, since now, if you are fired, you will never step into the company. The audience heard a lot of listening, and many employees' eyes changed when they looked at Z, from their original friendship to contempt and anger. Z lowered her head, gritted her teeth, and turned around without saying anything. But I didn't plan to let her and Zhang Wei go. After the meeting, I contacted several familiar industry media and exposed Z's affairs and Zhang Wei's censorship. Of course, I didn't directly name Zhang Wei, but just mentioned the inappropriate competitive methods of Hongyuan technology and some industry tycoons. As soon as the article was released, it exploded online and began to debunk Hongyuan technology while debunking. Some netizens even dug out some of Zhang Wei's past dark history and trampled his reputation into the mud. Hangshan Technology's operation is really hard. It's so satisfying to directly pull out the scene and open the face. Hongyuan Technology is so afraid of losing. Has it been used by business workers? It's a cancer of industry. Looking at the comments online, the affliction in my heart finally dissipated. Zhang Wei, I won this battle, but I know that people like him will never be willing to give up. Sure enough, within a few days, I received a message that Hongyuan Technology publicly stated that if it had any connection with Z, it also bit back, saying that our Hangshan technology was malign smear and even said that it was a pity for us. Qihang, Zhang Wei is really not giving up. Qihang held his mobile phone and browsed the news, and talked with a few words in his language, but this time he was about to hit the iron plate. Netizens don't take his tricks, and their opinions are completely biased towards us. What are your plans for the next step? I leaned against the chair, flying in my brain. Zhang Wei is a man of bad intentions and cruel hands. Z's being beaten is just the first step, and he must have a second move. On the other side of the jade, I also have to figure out her real purpose, otherwise I will always feel a sluggish back. Stay firmly and continue to expand the market share. I said in a deep voice, if Zhang Wei wants to play with the sun, we will understand. I want Hangshan Technology's products to directly crush his market, so that he knows that small means can't win. Qihang pointed his head and patted my shoulder. Okay, I have ambition. If you need me to help me, please speak at any time. Zhang Wei, I have long seen him be dissatisfied. Let's have a fight with him together. I smiled, and a struggle arose in my heart. This battle just began. Did Zhang Wei want to pressure me? No door. I want him to see what a real reversal is. At this moment, the phone suddenly hit the number of Yulan. I picked it up and her voice was still so calm, with a deep meaning. Qihang, I was fucked well. Zhang Wei was so angry that he vomited blood when he ate the phone this time. I held the phone and my heart sank. Why does Yulan seem to be hinting at something when he hears? What is her purpose? The game between career and commercial war is much more complicated than I thought. My name is Qihang. I just pulled out Z, the inner demon, and slapped Zhang Wei hard in the face. I felt so happy that I thought I could catch my breath. But I underestimated Zhang Wei's methods, but I didn't expect that the real storm would just begin. Not many days after the Z incident, the days of Hangshan Technology suddenly became difficult. First, several large customers inexplicably canceled the cooperation, with various reasons, such as the product is unstable and the service cannot keep up, but I know in my heart that this is absolutely no coincidence. Then, our suppliers began to look for trouble, either rising prices or delaying delivery, and even several companies directly broke the contact. In the market, our smart home control system version 2.0 was suddenly brutalized by the competition, and the price was too low, which made us almost no profit space. In just 2 weeks, the company's market share has directly reduced by nearly 30%, and the capital flow on the account has begun to emerge. Qihang, this won't work. Shaoli from the market was so anxious that he came to me with a piece of data. Hongyuan Technology has joined forces with several second-tier companies in the industry and is clear to suppress us. Although their products are not as good as ours, the prices are very low. Customers do not look at the quality at all, they only look at the cheap. I sat in the office, staring at the dazzling numbers on the report, and my heart seemed to be pressed down on a large stone. Zhang Wei, who is indeed unwilling to give up the last time he ate the phone, is now so heartbroken that he wants to kill me. Not only did he take action, he also pulled a few allies in the industry and put forward a scheming to join forces to trample me to death. I gritted my teeth and suppressed the fire, and asked Shaoli, how about the customer's response? Is it possible to bring it back with service? Shaoli was frustrated and said, it's hard. Customers now only recognize the price. No matter how good our service is, they can't stand half of the convenience. There are also a few large customers who directly say that if they don't lower the price, they will turn to Hongyuan Technology. As I heard, the feeling of powerlessness in my heart became stronger and stronger. Reduce prices? Reducing the price is equivalent to killing yourself. We have already made a small profit, and we can't stop reducing it any longer. But without lowering prices, the market share will continue. In the past, the company will not be far away if it closes. Just when my head was so painful that it was almost blowing, my phone was hit. It was the number of Yulan. I picked it up and her voice was as calm as ever, with a feeling of uneasy pressure. Shanghai, the company's situation is not very good recently, right? The market has been lost a lot, and Zhang Wei's methods are really ruthless. I sneered and said in a bad mood, your news is quite informative. Say, what's the matter with me? If you're a joke, I'm sorry, I'm not in the mood to chat with you. Yulan smiled lightly, and her language was a bit meaningful. I'm not here to joke, I'm here to help you. However, there are conditions to help you. My heart skipped a beat and I felt something was wrong. What are the conditions? It's very simple. Yulan's voice turned a little cold. I need you to help me with one thing. There is a company called Tianke Alliance in the industry. They have a core database in hand, involving user privacy information. I want you to use the name of Hangshan Technology to develop a backdoor program, connect to their system, and copy the database to me. As I heard, my brain buzzed and exploded. Isn't this something that makes me fuck the law? If this is exposed, Hangshan Technology's reputation will be over. I directly refused, impossible. Yulan, I am not short of funds to this point, I won't fuck this. Don't rush to refuse. Yulan said slowly, you have no choice in your current situation. How many months can you withstand Zhang Wei's siege? Once the fund chain is closed, the company will be over. I can give you another 50,000 yuan of funds to help you get through the trouble, and even provide resources to make you directly counter Zhang Wei. But the premise is that you have to hear me. I held the phone, my palms were covered in sweat, and my heart seemed to be torn by two forces. One side is the survival of the company, the other side is my bottom line. If I take over the conditions of Yulan, the company can survive and even turn it around, but I have to carry a moral burden and may even send myself to prison. But if we don't accept it, the company will be destroyed by Zhang Wei, and all the efforts of our team and I will be wasted. I'll give you 3 days to consider it. Yulan didn't wait for my answer and added a sentence, I hope you can make a smart choice. After all, morality is not worth a few dollars in this place of career. The phone was suspended, and I sat in the chair, my brains forming a group. What exactly does this woman like Yulan want to fuck? Why did she have to ask me to build this database? Her purpose is not just to invest so simply. I suddenly realized that from the beginning, the funds she gave me might be a sensation, with the purpose of letting me fall into her control step by step. That night, I told Qihang about this and wanted to hear his opinions. After Qihang finished listening, his eyebrows were so angry that he could get rid of the tide. Qihang, this is not a good thing. Yulan's condition is clearly to use you as a gun. Who in the industry does not know that the database of the Tianke Alliance company is fat? She wants this thing, and there will be 80% big moves. If you really fuck you, you will be the one who carries her for you. I clicked and gritted my teeth and said, I know, but in the current situation of the company, I won't accept her funds, so we won't be able to hold back for long. Zhang Wei is under too much pressure, so I have to calm down the situation first. Qihang patted my shoulder and said calmly, don't worry, we still have a way to go. If Zhang Wei wants to defeat you by price battle, we can change our playing style and not compete with him for price and technology. Doesn't Hengqian Technology have a practical experiment project? It's the AI self-sufficient control system. Didn't it say that the technology is about to take shape? If it can be launched in advance and directly crush the market, it will be useless for Zhang Wei to suppress the price. I was stunned, and a light suddenly lit up in my brain. That AI self-suitable control system is a project secretly developed by our technology department. Its core function is to automatically optimize smart home equipment according to user habits, which is smarter than any product on the market. If you can go online in advance, you can definitely become a killer. But the problem is that this project is still in the testing stage, and it will take at least 3 months before it is officially released. The risk of launching is too great. Qihang, this project is not stable yet. I will be able to run the online line. Once there is a problem, our reputation will be over. I said with a hesitation. The risk is high, but are you willing to try it? Qicheng's eyes lit up, and his language was full of excitement. Shanghai, now it's time to fight back and forth, maybe you'll turn it over. I can help you with the test and publicity. If you help others in the technical department, you will shorten the cycle. We will launch the product within a month. As I heard that, the desire in my heart was ignited again. Qihang said it was right, and it would be better to take a taxi than to sit and wait with him. I immediately made the decision, okay, it's fucked. From today on, the whole company will do its best to slam this AI system, the technology department works overtime, and the market department prepares for the promotion plan in advance. In 1 month, we will let the market explode. In the next month, the company seemed to have chicken blood. The little Zhang from the technical department brought the team to adjust the system day and night, making his eyes full of blood, and even drinking coffee made his stomach hurt. The market department began to preheat, and released some news about mysterious new products to whet the appetite of users. Qihang was not idle either. He used his own people to contact several industry media and prepared to make big news at the new product release conference. At the same time, the pressure on Zhang Wei was getting stronger and stronger. Although their products are low in price, their technical shortcomings are becoming more and more obvious, and the market is beginning to worsen. With the Z incident we exposed before, Hongyuan Technology's reputation has become mostly terrible, and many customers have begun to move. I know that this is our opportunity. As long as the new product comes out, it can be directly reborn in the market. Just 3 days before the launch meeting, Yulan called again, and sneered in her language, starting the airline, 3 days have arrived. How are you thinking about it? Do you accept my conditions? I took a deep breath and said, Yulan, thank you for your funds, but I will not accept your conditions. Hengqian Technology has reached today, relying on technology and teams, not on backing the bottom line. I have my own way, and you don't need to point fingers and draw your fingers. After the phone was silent for a few seconds, Yulan suddenly smiled, with a burst of praise in her voice, and a little disdainful, okay, it's a bone. But I remind you that the job is not a family. Morality will make you eat. Since you don't accept it, then carry it yourself. I hope you don't regret it. After quitting the phone, my heart felt a little relaxed. Although refusing to the Jadelon means giving up a shortcut, at least I didn't make myself a pawn for her. Now, I want to focus all my energy on the release of new products. I must win this battle. On the day of the launch, there were crowds of people in the conference, and many media, customers, and even industry leaders came. Zhang Wei also sent someone there, probably to see what we could do. I stood in the backstage, looking at the crowd under the audience with my heart beating a little fast, but more excited. The success of the company is here. Whether Hengqian Technology can turn the bill depends on today. Start the flight, are you ready? We're here soon. Qihang ran over, his face excited, and he was holding a piece of publicity information in his hand. I clicked the head and patted his shoulder. Prepare. Let's go bomb the field. I walked onto the stage, held the tube, swept the screen, and opened my mouth. Hello everyone, I am the launch of Hengqian technology. Today, we want to bring you a truly revolutionary product, AI Self-Sufficient Control System 3.0. This is not a simple smart home system, but a partner who can truly understand you. The people in the audience were clearly interested, and many people sat upright. I continued, our 3.0 system can automatically adjust the equipment operation mode according to the daily habits of the user. For example, if you wake up at 7 o'clock every morning, the system will turn on the coffee machine and air conditioner 5 minutes in advance, so that you can enjoy the most comfortable environment when you wake up. What's even worse is that it can also learn your preferences, become more and more smarter the more you use it, and the efficiency is more than 30% higher than any product on the market. As I said, the little Qihang from the technical department demonstrated the operation of the system on stage. The actual data displayed on the screen made the people in the audience stunned. When the system automatically completes a series of complicated operations based on the behavior of the simulated user, a sound of the palm burst out from the audience. This technology is so awesome. Isn't this the future when learning user habits automatically? It's much stronger than the broken system of Hongyuan technology, and their products are simply unmatched. Listening to the comments in the audience, the pleasure in my heart was bursting. I took advantage of the hot ironing and continued. I know that some companies in the market have recently relied on low-price competitions and wanted to force us to death. But I want to say that the real competition depends on technology and user experience. Today, we announced that the 3.0 system is officially launched, and the first batch of users enjoy a free upgrade service for 6 months, and the price is only 10% higher than the 2.0 version, and the SEX price is directly increased. As soon as this happened, the audience exploded. Customers took out their phones and started placing orders, and media reporters also took photos of each device. As I looked at this scene, the stone in my heart finally landed on the ground. In this battle, we not only held on, but also fought back fiercely. After the launch meeting, the order volume of the 3.0 system increased directly, exceeding our total in the past 6 months in just 3 days. The market share has not only returned, but has also surpassed Hongyuan technology a lot. The internet is full of praise for our new products, and the products on Zhangwei are sprayed out of skin. Hengqian Technology's response is too hard. The 3.0 system directly beat the market. Is Zhangwei still playing a fart price battle? Hongyuan Technology is getting very upset, its technology is crushed and its reputation is stinking. Who still buys their stuff? Looking at these comments, I sat in the office and finally showed a long-lasting smile. Qihang sat opposite me, crossed his legs, and said proudly, "Qihang, Zhangwei, this old fox is probably vomiting blood. Once our technique is released, it will be useless for him to attract allies. The market is already ours." I clicked the head and felt really happy, but I didn't completely relax. Zhangwei is as thoughtful as a squid. He will definitely find a way to fight back this time when he eats a squid. On the other side of the jade, although I rejected her conditions, her words "morality will make you eat" always whirl in my brain, making me feel uneasy. "Qihang, we can't take it lightly," I said in a deep voice. "If Zhangwei doesn't think so, I have to be on guard against Yuan. Next, continue to expand the market, and technical research and development cannot be stopped. I want Hengqian Technology to become an existence that cannot be shaken by anyone in the industry." Qihang grinned and said, "Okay, I heard you. With me here, don't worry about this story. If Zhangwei dares to come, I will kill him first." I looked at the night view outside the window, and a stronger aspiration ignited in my heart. This battle is not over yet, but I know that as long as I grit my teeth and keep squeezing, one day, I can step on these dire rules and treacherous things under my feet, making Hengqian Technology a true industry overlord. My name is Qihang. Hengqian Technology's 3.0 system was a hit, and its market share directly surpassed Hongyuan technology, making Zhang Wei's old fox very angry. I thought I could catch my breath and focus on bringing the company to the top of the industry, but I didn't expect that the real trouble would just surface. Yulan and Zhang Wei, the two opponents I thought could be able to keep pressing down at a time, actually got deeper behind them, and I almost became the stupidest piece on their chessboard. A few days after the release of the 3.0 system, the company was filled with joy. The order volume is overwhelming, and the media reports are all about us. Some of the major customers who have canceled their cooperation have taken the initiative to return, saying that they will sign a long-term contract. The team was extremely arrogant. When everyone saw me, I shouted Qihang Chief, and the sound made my heart fly. But I always feel uneasy. The last time Yulan called morality will make you eat was like a thorn, which made me unable to sleep well. What is her purpose? That night, I was working overtime alone in the office, looking through the recent financial report. The capital flow finally settled, and there was even a profit. I was about to invest another money to expand the R&D team, but my phone suddenly fell. It was a strange number. I picked up the phone and a low male voice came from the head, which sounded like a deliberate pressure. Qihang, don't ask who I am, just listen. I have news, you'd better be careful about Yulan. She is not a simple investor. Her true identity and purpose will make you regret knowing her. I was stunned, my heart skipped a beat. Who are you? If you say anything, don't be nagging. The other party sneered, I'm just a kind person, please remind you. If you want to know the truth, go and check it yourself. Yulan has had several secret meetings with the senior high-level members of Tianke Alliance recently. Also, if you check her relationship with Zhang Wei, you may be surprised. After speaking, the phone was dismissed, and there was no chance to ask me. I held my phone and formed a group in my brain. Who is this person? Why do you know so much? But his words made the uneasy in my heart magnify for a moment. Yulan and Tianke Alliance have contact. It's not surprising that she wanted me to get their database before. But has anything to do with Zhang Wei? How is this possible? Zhang Wei and I fought to the death, and Yulan was my investor again. Logically speaking, she should stand by me. I couldn't sit still, so I called Qihang immediately and told him about this. After Qihang finished listening, he was silent for a few seconds, and his language became particularly serious. Qihang, this is not simple. Since that person dares to call you, he probably knows some inside stories, but he doesn't dare to show up. We have to check it out ourselves. If Yulan and Zhang Wei really have a connection, then you are now being fooled by them. Check, you must check. I said with gritted my teeth, Qihang, your network is helping me dig the bottom of Yulan, especially her relationship with Zhang Wei and Tianke Alliance. I also moved here, looking through the contracts and funds she gave me before to see if there was any breakthrough. Qihang smiled and said with a hint of excitement in his voice, okay, I like this job. I will give me 2 days to make sure that I will turn the old foundation of Yulan upside down. Don't be careless, keep an eye on the inside of the company, and don't let others make loopholes. In the next 2 days, Qihang and I were digging for a rope like a crazy accident. I searched through all the documents that Yulan gave me and found that her funding sources were unusually complex. On the surface, it was injected through an offshore company, but in fact, the funding flow has exceeded several layers of empty shell companies, and the final source was not found at all. What's even more suspicious is that there are several overlord terms hidden in her contract, such as investors have the right to take over the company's decision under specific circumstances. I was eager to get money before, but the pressure was not detailed. Now, I think about it, this is clearly a backup plan and I can kick me out at any time. Qihang's progress was faster. The next night, he rushed to my office directly, holding a printed data in his hand, and his face was full of excitement. Qihang, I discovered it. Yulan is indeed not a good person. Her real name is Lin Yulan, and she is a major shareholder behind the scenes of Tianke Alliance, and her shareholding ratio is not low. She is an investor on the surface, but actually the spokesperson of Tianke Alliance. She specializes in finding potential companies like you, and use them as chess pieces. I felt a slump in my heart. When I received the information, I found that there were indeed photos of the meeting between Yulan and Tianke Alliance high-level meetings, and several email clips, all about how to use the new creation company to gain competitive advantages. What made me even more angry was that Qihang also found that Yulan and Zhang Wei's assistant had multiple conversation records. One time, 3 of them, Yulan, Zhang Wei, and an executive from Tianke Alliance, met at the same private club, just a few days before I rejected the Yulan conditions. Qihang, look at this email. Qihang pointed to a page. His language was full of anger. Yulan and Zhang Wei have colluded long ago. Their plan is that Yulan first uses funds to raise you, and then force you to do illegal things, and get the data bank of the Tianke Alliance. If you succeed, the data will be lost. Tianke Alliance, Yulan and Zhang Wei get a piece of the pie. If it fails, your company will become a scapegoat, and they will join hands to swallow you and divide the market share. Zhang Wei's previous price battles and Z's affairs were all promised by Yulan, and the purpose is to put pressure on you and make you have to listen to her. My hands were trembling as I looked at the data. It turns out that from the beginning, I was their pawn. Yulan's funds and Zhang Wei's siege were all acted as a play by them. The purpose was to make me desperate, to listen and to be destroyed. I gritted my teeth and wanted to go and calculate the money to them now, but I still suppressed the fire and asked Qihang, "Are there any iron certificates? These are not enough, I want them to be unable to turn over." Qihang grinned and took out a U-board from his bag. "Don't worry, I'm ready for it." There are recordings of their conversations, original emails and videos of meetings. I spent a lot of money from an internal line. As long as these are published, Yulan and Zhang Wei's reputation will be very bad. Who in the industry dares to cooperate with them? I took the U-wheel drive and a struggle ignited in my heart. "Okay, since you are going to play in, don't blame me for overturning this chess. I want you to know that Qihang is not easy to mess with." The next day, Qihang and I began to fight back. First, I pretended to be well-designed and called Yulan, saying in a low voice, "Yulan, I have considered it clearly. I will accept your conditions. The company can't help you. I'm willing to help you build a Tianke Alliance database, but the funds must be in place first." Yulan heard it, and there was a pride in his voice. "A clever choice will start the flight. I just said that morality is not worth a few dollars. If the funds are fine, we will be in the account tomorrow. You should arrange the matters of the subsequent procedures as soon as possible." I snuck my phone and sneered. "Proud? It depends on how many times you can be proud of it." At the same time, Qihang contacted several top-notch media outlets and was ready to expose all certificates at once. I secretly arranged the technical department within the company and pretended to open the post-development process. In fact, I was collecting instructions and funds transferred to me by Yulan as additional certificates. Just as everything was ready, a last blow suddenly occurred from Zhang Wei. He joined forces with several second-line companies to directly release news in the market, saying that Hangchen Technologies 3.0 system has a major security concern, and even created a so-called third-party testing report accusing our AI system of collecting user privacy data without authorization. As soon as this news came out, the online discussion exploded again. Although many old users supported us, new customers began to hesitate and the order volume dropped by 2%. "Qihang, Zhang Wei is jumping into the wall in a hurry." Qihang looked at the negative news on the internet and was filled with excitement. He knew that his skills were not as good as us, so he used this kind of slander method again. This time he must be fatal to him, otherwise he would not have finished it. I clicked the head, and the fire in my heart could not be suppressed. "Okay, let's act today. Qihang, you send a certificate to the media, I will hold a news release meeting, and everyone will tear off their true faces." That afternoon, I held an emergency press conference at the largest conference center in the city center. At the venue, I invited several dozen media outlets, as well as many industry leaders and customer representatives. The atmosphere was as intense as a string, and the reporters were holding the camera and preparing to catch big news. I walked onto the stage, held the tube, swept the screen, and opened my mouth. Hello everyone, I am the launch of Hangshan Technology. Today, I want to reveal the rude traits in the industry, the fair competition for Hangshan Technology, and even the entire industry. The people in the audience were stunned for a moment and started to discuss it in a low voice. I ignored it and continued. Recently, someone on the internet said that our 3.0 system has security risks. I can tell you clearly that this is fake. Our technology has been tested for too many wheels, and every data is open and transparent. Anyone is welcome to verify it. But I am not here to explain this today. I want to tell you who is the mastermind behind this scene. With a swipe, Qihang cast the prepared certificate onto the big screen. Yulan and Zhang Wei's conversation records, meeting photos, and email screenshots are clearly displayed. I continued, the Ms. Yulan I see is my investor. She supports Hangshan Technology on the surface, but is actually the behind-the-scenes shareholder of the Tianke Alliance. She has planned to use my company as a chess piece to compete with her opponents since the beginning. And Zhang Wei, Hongyiwang, the helmsman of the technology, colluded with her, used price battles and business ties to push us, and forced me to embark on the road of law. Their purpose was very simple. If I listened, they would share the data. If I didn't listen, they would join hands to destroy me and divide the market. The audience exploded directly, and the reporters slammed the express doors, and the comments came one after another. I took advantage of the hot ironing and shook Zhang Wei's recent slander methods. The test report that everyone saw was created by Zhang Wei, and the purpose was to discredit our 3.0 system. I have a certificate that the source IP address of this report directly points to Hongyuan Technology's internal network. They not only violate business ethics, but also try to break the industry rules. Is this behavior not to be held responsible? After I finished speaking, the audience heard a lot of anger and shock on their faces. As I looked at this scene, my heart was filled with joy. I continued, since the day Hangshan Technology was founded, it has been through technology and integrity to this day. We are not afraid of competition, but we will never accept these three methods. Today, I will publicize these certificates to tell everyone that the job is not your game venue, and the dilemma is not your amulet. Yulan, Zhang Wei, your good days are coming. After the press conference, the discussion finally exploded. The media reported this industry news wildly, and netizens fell to support us on one side, and Yulan and Zhang Wei's reputation was so bad that it was just terrible. What's more interesting is that Tianke Alliance was forced to publicly announce its relationship with Yulan Cutting, and Zhang Wei was also urgently suspended by the board of directors of Hongyuan Technology, and even reported that he was going to be sued. Hangshan Technology is so hard that it directly pulls two big bosses off the horse, and it's awesome to start the hang. Yulan and Zhang Wei are like this guy and boy, playing around with each other. You're alive. Looking at the comments online, I sat in the office and finally relaxed. Qihang sat opposite me, crossing his legs, smiling so hard that he couldn't hold his mouth shut. Qihang, you have really become an industry hero. Zhang Wei and Yulan are finished, and no one dares to play with us in the market anymore. I smiled, and my heart felt really good, but I felt more about emotion. Along the way, I killed a bloody path from a newbie in my career, and finally brought Hangshan Technology to the top of the industry. The crisis has passed, and the company has not only failed, but also because of the popularity of this launch conference, the order volume has reached a new high, and the market share has directly crushed all competitors. A few days later, we also received olive branches from several international investment institutions, and the financing amount was so high that I couldn't believe it. Qihang, thank you. I looked at him and said sincerely, if you didn't help me check and dig out the information, I would have been killed by them. Qihang snatched his hand and said with a smile, stop being sour. We are brothers. Are you talking about these fucks? But after starting the flight, you have to be careful next. The top position in the industry is not that easy to sit, and there are more challenges waiting for you. I clicked my head and looked at the night view outside the window, and a stronger aspiration ignited in my heart. The job site is indeed a cannibalistic battle, but as long as I keep the bottom line and rely on technology and team to kill a way out, no one can hold me. The next scene of Yulan and Zhang Wei is the best evidence. Those who play with the sun will be killed by themselves if they are too late. I won this battle. But I know that the road ahead is still long, and Hangshan Technology will have to continue to fight if it wants to become a real industry overlord. Come on, who are you afraid? My name is Qihang, and I just overturned the two industry tumors, Yulan and Zhang Wei. Hangshan Technology's reputation has been directly spread to the sky, and its market share is even the best in the industry. In the few days after the launch, the company became the focus of the industry. The media reported that customer orders were flying like snowflakes, and international investment institutions took the initiative to come to the door, and the financing amount they opened was so high that I felt like I was dreaming. The corporals in the team were very arrogant. When everyone saw me, I shouted Qihang Chief in admiration. That feeling was so good. But I knew in my heart that this was just a new starting point. The higher the job site, the greater the wind, and I had to calm down and couldn't turn myself into the next Jade or Zhang Wei. On the first week after the launch, Yichen and I sat in the newly moved-in top office. Outside the window was the night view of the entire city, and under our feet was the country we built step by step. Yichen crossed his legs, holding a can of California in his hand, smiling as if he was, "Qihang, you are so awesome now." The title of industry overlords is considered a reality. Zhang Wei said that the old fox was kicked by the board of directors, and Yulan also voiced and hid her voice. He heard that the Tianke Alliance had begun to check her accounts, and he probably couldn't turn over. What are your plans for the next step? Just the amount of money lying down? I leaned against the chair, smiled, and said, "Mark? That's not my style. Yichen, we are not here to be a rampant. I want to do something different, so that this industry is no longer a battleground for self-interest. I want to change the rules to make fair competition a normal situation." Yichen was stunned, put down Kale, and curious in his eyes. "Change the dilemma? You kid are very ambitious. How do you change it?" I stood up, walked to the window, looked at the lights of thousands of houses below, and said with a firm voice, "You know more than me what this industry is like now. The rules are in progress, and small companies are killed by big players. Technology and innovation are not worth the money at all. Relations and means are hard goods. Yulan and Zhang Wei are the best examples. They climbed up by wise and business means, and almost destroyed dreamers like us. I don't want the next flight to start, but I have to fight my life to kill a path. So, I want to use the influence of Hangshan Technology to promote industry reform and establish an open and transparent competitive environment." After hearing this, Yichen was silent for a few seconds, then slapped his thighs suddenly and said with a smile, "Okay, Qihang, do you really want to be the savior of the industry? I support you. But this is not easy to do. Who do you want to eat with dirt rules? Can they make you change?" I turned over and looked at him with a look of struggle. They have to let it go if they don't. Hangshan Technology is now the number one in the market, and the words are in my hands. I don't believe it. There are fewer people who stand up with technology and integrity than those who play. As long as we have the head, there will always be people who will follow. In the next few months, Yichen and I began to prepare for this industry reform. First of all, I used the influence of Hangshan Technology to join forces with several new companies with the same exhausted rules to establish an industry alliance, called Hangshan Alliance. Our goal is simple: to promote industry standardization, to prevent unfair competition, and to protect technological innovation and the survival of small companies. I am the founder of the alliance. At the first public meeting, at the forefront of hundreds of industry representatives, I announced our three principles: transparent competition, technology-based, and fair cooperation. Everyone, the industry has come to this day, and the rules have become cancer. I stood on the stage, holding the tube, and the soundtrack was powerful. How many people with dreams are forced to go to the forefront by the rules? How many good technologies are buried under the market because they have no relationship and no background? Hangshan Technology Energy Station to this day, it is not about making a fuck or slander, but about the trust of products and users. So, I hope that through the Hangshan Alliance, this industry can return to its true nature, who is good at technology and who has good service, who should win. We do not oppose competition, but oppose the methods of the next three. There was a sound from the audience, and the eyes of many representatives of small companies were full of excitement. Several young entrepreneurs even stood up and shouted, "President Qihang, support you. We have been under the dilemma." Looking at their reaction, the heat in my heart became burn again. I know that this road is not easy to walk, but as long as there is someone to support it, it is worth a fight. In order to make the Xinjiang alliance more than just an empty shell, Qihang and I began to formulate specific measures. In the first step, we joined forces with several media and third-party organizations to launch an open and transparent industry evaluation system that specifically evaluates the company's technical level, user reputation, and business behavior. The evaluation results are announced quarterly and can be participated by any company, but must be publicly reviewed. This move directly forced the companies that rely on relationships and shady food to the corner of the wall, because their messy matters could not afford to investigate. Qihang, this evaluation system is expected to offend a lot of people. Qihang smiled a little badly as he took the first evaluation report. Look at these old companies, their technical scores are low, and their business behavior has been criticized for a lot of bad reviews. The internet has started to criticize them. I glanced at the report and said, "If you offend me, offend me." In the industry reform, it was not about asking customers to have a meal. If these companies cannot change, don't blame the market for eliminating them. Our purpose is not to punish who, but to let everyone know that relying on technology and integrity can make a lot of money. Sure enough, as soon as the evaluation system was announced, the industry opened up. Some old-fashioned companies have begun to jump, publicly accusing us of breaking market order, and even a few bigwigs have joined hands to speak, saying that they want to boycott the New Journey Alliance. But they didn't expect that the market and users wouldn't take their case at all. Netizens are crazy about supporting our reforms, and the evaluation reports have been transferred to flying, and some large customers who were originally sensible have also begun to turn to companies that support the alliance. After all, who doesn't like to cooperate with clean and reliable companies? At the same time, I also promoted the second reform, establishing an industry innovation fund. The money from this fund comes from self-dedicated donations from Hengqian Technology and other affiliates, and is specially used to support small companies with potential technology but lack of funds. We do not ask for a reply, we only ask them to use technology on the right path. This move directly made many small companies see hope, and more companies applying to join the alliance, and even several companies that were originally close to Zhang Wei also quietly changed jobs and wanted to get a share of the pie under the new order. "Qihang, your fund is so awesome." Qihang couldn't help but sigh. "I just contacted several small companies." They heard that with fund support, their eyes were almost falling. There was a young entrepreneur who said that you were their idol and wanted to learn from you and do your skills very well. I heard it, my heart was quite warm, but it was also quite heavy. I know that this fund can help many people, and feasible diseases cannot be cured overnight. The deeper the reform, the stronger the anti-revolution will be. Sure enough, it didn't take long before some veteran forces began to fight back. They used their resources to impose pressure on alliance members, and even made a sound that they said that we were a savage gentleman. On the surface, we were carrying out reforms, but actually wanted to destroy the market. That night, I was working overtime in the office, and my phone suddenly fell off. It was an incognito number. Following up, the other party's voice was so cold that it made people feel angry. "Qihang, do you really think you can change another day? The industry is very deep. If you want to set new rules, you have to ask whether we answer first. I'll give you a word and stop, otherwise the good days of Hengqian Technology will be at the forefront." I heard it and sneered, and my words were as hard as iron. "Want to scare me? Sorry, I didn't take this trick for Qihang. What are your methods? Even though Zhang Wei and Yulan didn't kill me that year, don't think about it. I will just say, the era of dilemma is over." After snooping the phone, the fire in my heart became even more intense. "Okay, want to play hard? Then come." I immediately convened a team, held a nightly meeting, and formulated appropriate plans. Qihang also moved, and began to dig out these black materials behind the scenes, preparing to give them a fatal counterattack. In the next few weeks, the struggles in the industry have become white. Those veterans first tried to promote alliance members through price battles, but our evaluation system and user reputation made their products unsatisfactory at all. Then, they wanted to use arguments to discredit us, saying that the Qihang Alliance is a suppressive organization, but netizens and media have long seen through their routines and stood up to support us. Finally, they even wanted to use legal means to sue the alliance for interference in the market, but Qihang had long prepared all the loopholes in legal documents, which directly made their lawsuits a joke. Qihang, this helps the veterans is in a state of scrutiny. Qihang held the latest market data and slapped the table with great enthusiasm. Their market share is like a free fall. There are more and more members of the alliance. Now more than half of the companies in the industry have joined our business. As I looked at the data, the big stone in my heart finally landed on the ground. The first step in reform is to stabilize the feet. In the next year, Qihang Alliance's influence became greater and greater, and the industry evaluation system became the hard standard of the market, and the living space of potential regulations was compressed smaller and smaller. With the help of innovative funds, many small companies have launched many awesome technical products, which directly changed the market structure. Qihang technology has also become a recognized standard enterprise in the industry due to its reform. No one can win whether it is technology or reputation. This day is the anniversary of the first anniversary of the founding of Qihang Alliance. We held an industry summit at the largest venue in the city center. The venue was filled with business representatives, media reporters and government officials from all over the country, and the atmosphere was as hot as the new year. As the founder of the alliance, I walked up to the stage, held the phone, and looked at the crowd under the audience, and felt mixed emotions in my heart. Everyone, a year ago, I stood here and said I wanted to change the industry's dive rules. Many people think I'm dreaming. I spoke with a smile in my voice. But today, I can proudly tell everyone that we did it. Since the establishment of the Qihang Alliance, the industry evaluation system has made the market more transparent. The Innovation Fund has helped hundreds of small companies stand up, and the living space for dive rules is getting smaller and smaller. This is not my personal contribution, but the result of every person who supports the reform on the scene, who work together. A hot voice burst out from the audience, and many people even stood up to applaud, with admiration in their eyes. I continued, I have come from a job novice to this day, and have experienced betrayal, traitor and crisis, but I have never given up my original intention. I believe that job stadiums should not be a cannibalistic battle, but a stage for speaking with strength. So, I hope that the new Qihang Alliance can continue to lead, make fair competition a normal state in the industry, and that every person with dreams can kill a path with both hands. After saying this, the sound of the audience almost overturned the roof. As I looked at this scene, the feeling of satisfaction in my heart was bursting. Qihang sat in the first row below the stage, gave me a thumbs up, and shouted in his mouth, "Qihang, awesome." I smiled, and a long-lasting relaxation suddenly appeared in my heart. After the summit, Qihang and I stood outside the venue, looking at the smoke in the night sky, and we were very moved. Qihang patted my shoulder, and his language was full of chanting, "Qihang, now you have become a business legend. What should I do in the future? Go to the world after retirement?" I slammed and said with a smile, "Retirement? It's still early. Industry reform has just begun, and there are so many things to do. I want Qihang technology to become the leader of smart homes in the world, and to expand the influence of the Qihang Alliance to the whole world. The divest rules are not only our industry, but I want more people to know that by relying on practical strength and integrity, we can stand at the top." After Qihang finished listening, he laughed and said, "Okay, I have ambition. Then I have to continue with you. Maybe one day, I will become an industry leader." I looked at him and smiled happily. Qihang, a fellow man from college to now, has always been my most powerful brother. Without him, I was already killed by those traitors. With him around, I'm not afraid of anything. The night wind blows over, with a hint of striking, but my heart is warm. From the first job novice who was bloody by the supervisor to the current industry overlord, I finally found a balance between morality and interests. I did not become the next Yuan or Zhang Wei, but instead used my own way to keep my original intention and change this industry. This place is really cool, but as long as you don't give up, you will always find your own light. In the future of ancient technology, there is a bigger stage waiting for me to conquer. When we start the flight, we will continue to move forward with this belief and become the hope of more people. This is my story, a counterattack legend from a novice to an overlord.